Hello again. Welcome to yet another edition of Top 10 Worst Of Lists. I'm your host, Otto Graff, and welcome to what I think many consider in the Top 10 Worst Of List circles as being the preeminent Top 10 Worst Of Lists in the entirety of the internet. Today's list is going to be a humdinger. And I think it's going to answer a lot of big issue questions that the both of you who are watching this, I'm guessing, have been stewing over for eons. But before we get to that, I've got a bit of a checklist of some disclaimers and stuff, business I've got to take care of in advance of embarking upon this odyssey. Number one, I am nuts. I've lost my mind, and I just want to clarify that it's not that I'm off my meds or whatever, although it is probably going to seem like that at some point, or perhaps many points throughout the entirety of this Top 10 Worst Of list. But I'm thinking it's more like a contextual thing, that I am looked upon as being a madman because everybody else is so cloistered and conservative and puritanical and full of dualities to the point where being almost a borderline schizophrenic, that they will look upon people like me who are sort of a little bit sort of liberated in their thought process and independent-minded and looking to kind of debunk the prevailing indoctrinational elements of our ultra-conservative media indoctrinational hooey. So I kind of, what I'm trying to say is I think you're the ones that are nuts, and I'm the one that's sort of, right on the money in terms of what the hell's really going on in this crazy mix-up, shook-up world. Number two, I'm not partisan. I'm not playing that game anymore. I know a lot of people are especially going to look at me because everybody judges books by the covers, and they'll say, I don't judge a book by the covers. And it's actually at a point in, the whole PC police, PC thuggery, whatever you want to call it, where people are being excoriated for, even talking about people's looks. Somebody walks into your place of business and you say, hey, it looks like that measles rash is clearing up. And they'll be like, all right, throwing the flag like the officials in a football game. Throwing the flag. Time to get the intimacy coordinator out here. I'm going to sue your ass, blah, blah, blah. I just said that your rash is clearing up. Wrong. I wish I had one of those buzzers. That's close I got to a buzzer. But anyway, I don't really give a rat's ass anymore about any of that stuff. I'm not down with it anymore. It's divide and conquer. At this point, if you're painting somebody that you've objectified as being in the other group, the sociological other group, with the broad brushstrokes, you're just as biased and bigoted as anybody else. It's the whole process is degrading to the human condition. We need to start, instead of defining people and objectifying people in our minds based on what these people are, we need to think about who these people are. We need to start using that frickin' golden rule. I swear to God, do unto others as you have do unto you. What's wrong with that? Will somebody please tell me what's wrong with that as being a guiding principle for us and what I think are the end times for the human race? Here come the AI robots. Oh, hello, it's the AI robots coming for the fat, hairy weirdo guy who we're not going to judge by his looks, okay? Even though we're AI robots and we're here to murder you and to maybe drag your corpse to an oven where we'll render your fat into a votive candle. it's just like, hey, it's so much hypocrisy, so much victimization, so many unrealized levels of maturity and awareness that we've totally left on the table and blown off in an effort to watch 5 hours of TV a day and others. But hey, what the hell? If you want to get down, spend whatever remaining days are left before those 400 million guns that private ownership in the United States start going off and blowing everybody away and all that kind of stuff. Have at it. Okay. I feel bad. I tried my best for decades to forestall such eventualities. But I got, blown off, kicked to the curb, and people just, again, sort of judging me, taking a look at me, going like, why would I believe somebody looks like that? And somebody seems like so obviously torn up inside that they can't do anything but eat their feelings and suppress their own anger, and instead of taking it out on other people who don't deserve it. Anyway, so I have a top 10 list, which is really revealing and enlightening. And I think you're going to want to stick around for it. But before we get to that, I just want to remind you that these top 10 lists might not seem like they're real, but they are put together by our team of crack-addled PR department figureheads who are trying to set up celebrity marriages, fake celebrity marriages, like Nicole Kidman and Urban Dance Squad. Keith Urban? And Tom Cruise, fill in the blank. And who else is celebrity marriages and stuff? I don't know, man. Like that guy with the thing and the lady with the other thing. And they take copious doses of Jaeger bombs mixed with phenobarbital, and to come up with these lists. And we've got a very special sponsor today. Wow, what an exciting time for all of us to find out our sponsor. Da-dee-da-dee-da, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Oh, for coming up for Christmas, from the writers and producers of the Scrooge, comes the Three Scrooges. Slapstick comedy for all. Larry, Moe, and Curly are the Ghost of Christmas Past, Future, and Forward, Ghost of the Forward stuff. And a linear, heavy physics-oriented examination of the linear timeline way of experiencing life. All on IMAX with nudity and pie fights for the first time ever. Finally, everybody's two favorite movie contents can be found in one movie. It's the Three Scrooges. And may I have some more? And that's Oliver. Oh, well. And for the producers of American Idol comes Brainless, Soulless, Uninspired Idol, where just a bunch of it's like a fashion show. People get on. They've got sponsored dresses and suits and clothing from a bunch of really hip designers that you will be able to buy online immediately during the show, just like your favorite Project Runway, which isn't at all a setup to be just a scam to sell H&M dresses to a bunch of mouth breathers. Brainless, Soulless, Uninspired Idol is in part sponsored by Chimpan Pizzas. Pan pizzas for chimps. Chimpan pizzas. I need to take more time on these. Is anybody looking to do some editing on some really poor comedy material? All right, so let's get down to it. At least I've gotten all that out of the way so we can get down to the list for today, which is incredible. And it goes top 10 worst right-wing major Hollywood stars that prove that liberal media bulldink is a bunch of horse hockey. Because, like, they'll go on, won't they? The people who own media will tell you that it's a liberal media, even though the people that own media are ultra right wing billionaire corporations that wouldn't know a soul if they bumped into it on Christmas morning. And they just go on, don't they, about how liberal the media is? That's just consider the source. I don't know why anybody even bothers to listen to any of that stuff that they throw down anymore. It's all so obviously lies, ridiculousness, and they're like, oh, there's liberal media, sure, yeah, whatever. Anybody who thinks that there's a liberal media out there when you just had a third of it just bought out by Larry Ellison, who's, nuzzling Donald Trump's tiny little microphallus in ways that are both endearing and revolting. And you just don't, I don't comprehend how anybody could go along with it. Like Disney, look at what Disney's doing to everybody's brain. The Jonas Brothers, Lizzie McGuire, Hannah Montana's, I'm sure there's others. Tons of them. Vernique Hudgens, Vanessa Hudgens. She's one of them, right? It's just going on and on about these like soul-sucking piles of video mayonnaise. And who else do you got out there? You got Comcast. Oh boy, yeah, they're really glorious. You ever been on customer service with Comcast? Yeah, I trust people like that with my brain. Warner Brothers and Paramount are now Ellison Incorporated, and then you got that's it. I've run it down. There's 4 people controlling everything that we see and hear. And there's Fox, I guess, but they only own the most evil and demented news outlet, propaganda outlet disguises news of all time. Other than Clear Channel that owns 75% of the major micro radio stations, and using that to be perhaps the most despicable and destructive propaganda device in the history of everything. Good stuff. And they'll say all these liberals. It's been nothing but children of ultra rich people and sellout brown nosers and moronic nobodies that like the Kardashians and stuff. And then you've got like Nicki Minaj does an album, Pink Friday 2. It's got 42 producers listed on the credits. 42 producers to create something that's as disposable as a used vinegar douche. It's actually probably an insult to use vinegar douches. Pink Friday 2, 42. Look it up. I don't care what you think of me. I really don't. I'll just rattle this stuff off, and you can just go ahead and look it up yourself and play a role in your own world for a minute and see how it fits. So what I did was I decided, and this particular topic is just sort of very narrowly oriented, and because you could go into a variety of different things where it's just people who are let through the gate by the gatekeepers because they're a bunch of teenage jailbait. Or people who are led in by the gatekeepers because they're the sons of multi-millionaires, the sons and daughters of multi-millionaires, and they will never go coloring outside the lines because they're part of the problem. And they don't have the types of experiences and wealth of experiential knowledge and self-sacrifices and things that, most ordinary people have. So they have nothing to draw upon for their creative endeavors. And so it's just vapid and robotic and there's no real reason in terms of talent or ability to be able to be emotive and expressive or lift people's spirits. They don't get the jobs because of that. They get the jobs because they're freaking granddaughters of the Wellington Mara, who owns the frickin' New York Giants. Is one of the hoity-toityest of the hoity-toity. Or, Army Hammer, or, the children of Will Smith, Jaden Smith, and those guys who have been gobbling up Ariana Grande's, like, not only comes from, like, multimillionaire family, but her mother's like a big wig, isn't she? A big wig, consultant for the defense industry or for the military or something. I mean, it's like, and it's almost ubiquitous. So you got that, sort of crew that they let in past the gatekeepers and the dummies and the sellouts so anyway, what we're focusing on in this one is right-wing major league Hollywood stars that are ultra right wing. So number 10, Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn's an ultra right winger. I mean, he's cute, fun, whatever. He's a tall drink of water, isn't he? But he is also like a hardcore, closet fascist. Let's call it that, at least by my view of it. And this guy is, seemingly unredeemable. I mean, he's been that way for a long time. Damaged goods. Kick him to the curb. Not liberal at all. Zero liberalness. Number 9, Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper is MAGA, like totally, in a big way. And he just came out, in support of Trump for the Iran war. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Iran war. It looks to me like the beginning of World War III, and the serve as justification for unleashing the AI robotic army into the world for the first time, and instead of sending in ground troops. And I, have long thoughts about the reasons for doing it. It just seems like totally unjustifiable to create that much havoc and destruction and unleash it on people, unless you've got like some sort of really, really horrific agenda that you're not letting people onto. And I believe that they do. I believe it is going to be, the justification for the unleashing of the robotic army onto us. And I think it's over from here on in. And there'll be a collapse in anarchy in the United States, and they'll need to, sort of rope everybody in and put out a military, a police state and martial law. And I think that they're going to use the robots as part of that, and just sort of continually remove all of our civil rights and not have to worry about, militias and National Guards and stuff like that might not fire on their own people by just replacing the people with automatons. Number 8, Tim Allen. This is a guy who's just absolutely the worst. I don't know how people could ever think that there's a liberal media with Tim Allen getting so many big, huge jobs. I mean, he's getting the biggest, some of over the last 30 years or whatever it's been. He's got all the Toy Story movies. He's got all the giant, he's got 3, maybe 4 Major League Network TV series under his belt. And he's got all the Santa Claus movies and probably stuff that I can't remember. But this is a guy who was a former drug dealer, right? He got busted and did a lot of time for that type of stuff, and then he's like looking down his nose at all of the the working class people and telling them that everything should be right wing and the billionaires should get tons more money and resources because they're so poor, they're so horribly off, they got such a bad time, the billionaires are, aren't they? And his big, stand-up comedy thing, his big thing was like, ugh. He's like, men are, like Cro-Magnons and stuff like that, so they go around going, ugh. Just stellar, amazing. Not anywhere, underneath the insightful humor of a George Carlin or a Lenny Bruce or a Bill Bill guy with the face. The Bill guy. Well, I love him. Or Richard Pryor. Instead, you got Number 7, Chuck Norris. Not Chuck Norris, what's poor little Chuck Norris doing, but except wiping out people of color, massive, grand scale, in all those war movies and stuff that he did. And just kind of like moping around with absolutely zero personality, and nothing, redeeming about him or his character at all. He's just, butch. He's butch as hell. And he's also ultra right wing. Number 6, Adam Sandler. Now, here's a good one for like talking about whether or not there's a real liberal media. There is no one in Hollywood that makes more movies than Adam Sandler. He farts them out, like 3 or 4 of them a month, it would seem. And they're all various different degrees of regrettable, aren't they? Where it's just like Jack and Jill or Jack off Jill or whatever the hell. Big Daddy and Click and wow, on and on and on with all this just garbage. And he's walking around like it's funny, and then the straight roles he plays, like Punch Drunk Love, he's just screaming. And the Uncut Gems, his take on acting skills is just screaming. It's so annoying and obnoxious. And I just don't get it. Why he's ultra right wing, and his movies are ultra conservative, and he gives jobs to all his ultra conservative friends like Rob Schneider and others, who, Kevin Hart or whatever the hell. And, or not Kevin Hart, Kevin, King of Queens, that guy, Kevin James, sorry. And then, it's just an infestation of ultra right wing productions through this guy, and tons of people are getting jobs off of something. You can't say that Hollywood is liberal media and that people are crying poor mouth like recently. Not Anne Hathaway, the lady who used to be married to, freaking, what the hell's wrong with my brain today? She was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, not married, she was cohabitating with Tim Robbins. Jesus Christ, I gotta look this one up. For Christ's sake, Jesus. Oh, it should be on my list. Probably anyway, somewhere here. And you've got Levi, that actor, what's that guy's name? Zachary Levi, complaining, I can't get roles because I'm too right wing. People think I'm right wing. I don't give any roles in Hollywood. He's getting a lot of roles, man. He got freaking Shazam, which he was, borderline horrible at, and he worked on the Mrs. Maisel series and the Purple Crayon stuff. And what does he think that everybody in Hollywood gets major league standalone motion pictures where they star in like every freaking day of the week? He's just not good, and his movies weren't good, and they didn't do any box office. That's why the guy can't get hired. Freaking Ellen DeGeneres wannabe. And that lady, who's that other lady? Just the thing, why can't I remember her? I was trying to do a Hollywood TV show, like post-commercial, like reintroduction, little theme musical fanfare. But that didn't help. Nothing's helping. It's just another reason for me to hate this lady. What is this freaking Suzanne something. Susanna. Freaking Toto, man. What the hell is up with that? Freaking Toto. Susan Sarandon. Jesus Christ, I could not think of that lady. She's complaining all the freaking time here in March 2, 2026 that she's not getting on. Just like all the roles are drying up for me now that I came out of pro-Gaza. She was just in a freaking giant Netflix release movie, The Nonas, with the other ultra-right-wing person, was Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn's got her ass. What the hell? She's a million years old. Million-year-old actors don't get a lot of roles. Major motion league pictures, and she's had a pretty good freaking run. Anywhere But Here, and the Banger Sisters, and Flo and Eddie. What was that movie with the driving the car off the Grand Canyons? Turner and Hooch. What it was? She's getting plenty of freaking roles. What she's got to complain about? Why don't you write a Diane Wiest, a poor mouth letter, somebody who really can't get roles, who's just an amazing acting talent, and complain about it to her. Number 5, Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's, a badass actor. A lot of fun to watch pretend to be John Wayne. Oh, there, Pilgrim, Kurt Russell. Here's a $10 million check for the campaign to re-elect Sarah Palin. And it was just, here's a guy, he's getting every freaking role thrown to him, isn't he? Who's his modern day replacement that they're trying to get with Chris thingy with the Chris Pratt. And that guy, getting everything thrown to him, the job after job. It's like there's no other actors that exist in the world. And what's another one with the guy, the thing, he's got Brolin, that Brolin guy. He's getting like everything thrown at him. It's like, these other actors don't have, that are just can't buy a job or anything like that. It would be nice to have a little bit of diversity and have a few more stars, but I think they're worried that some of these people are going to, again, sort of talk out of turn, color outside the lines when they're doing press junkets and stuff like that, and they just can't have that. So they limit the amount of actors that they've got, and then plus it makes it a little easier for them to buy out their personas for the upcoming AI-generated movie and television industry that's going to replace all real-life actors any minute now. And so if you've got a smaller talent pool, it'll be less for you to be able to buy into it, and you can still keep your profit margins high, even in the transition time, which is really saying something about how they plan things out for us. The controlled, manipulated economy and such. Number 4 of the top 10 worst ultra hardcore right-wing major Hollywood stars that prove that liberal media bullink is a bunch of horse hockey. Sylvester Stallone, Sly, okay? Sly is like, again, who knows what really makes this guy tick, but if you watch his movies, every single time it's like demeaning of or showing like murderous intentions towards people of color. It's like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Of course, he's the great white hope that beats Carl Weathers in the first 2 Rockies, and they do become friends eventually, but it's Rocky who's winning all the accolades, right? And nobody's talking about how, sort of a black champion on the tail end of his career is giving an opportunity for somebody to have the chance of a lifetime, just a nobody, which life never gives anybody. So Apollo Creed is heroic in many respects, but he's not shown like that, is he? He's shown getting his ass whooped by a nobody. And it's part of what the script was all about. And that was the intention of what the story arc was in terms of the impact on society. And the brainwashing component of the script is more important than the story arcs that happen on the screen. Obviously, for the Rambo movies, especially 2 and 3, where, he's just slaughtering brown people, jingoistic, people who are, probably enslaved into peasant armies and stuff like that, who he's shooting down and cutting down, and then of course in 3 he's fighting alongside of the Al Qaeda. The what they called the freedom fighters in Rambo 3 wound up actually being Al Qaeda. So Rambo is pro Al Qaeda. How do you like that? I don't like it at all. And it's just on and on about this just nonsense movies over and over again where, what's the one where Wesley Snipes is the bad guy and he's made out to be all evil, and then the great white liberator hero comes in, a Judge Dredd, was it, or Demolition Man? It's just over and over with this guy. The immense amount of bigotry that is infused into his movies so often, and violence, glorification of violence, and all these extremables movies, extraneousable, unnecessaryables movies that he does, Expendables, and ultra mega violent, just glamorizing violence and just turning it into where people getting murdered is just and murdered in hideous, graphic ways. Everybody should be cool with that. It's super dehumanizing, and it makes people get an image in their minds that our lives are disposable. That people are just you blown away like they're nothing, like people are nothing. I want to see a movie that's built around the lives of the survivors of the violence created, the deaths and murders and disfigurements that were created by Rambo 2 and the movie Rambo 2. I just have the whole thing just be a documentary. And obviously it's not real, so you're going to have fake actors, but show the impoverished people whose masculine children were enlisted, quote unquote, into a slave army, and when they were killed, what their lives were like, thanks to Rambo's rampage. Let's do some movies like that. Let's do a few sequels to it, in fact, so we can see what the ramifications of all the people that John Wick killed. How about the survivors, the family of all the people that John Wick kills in just one of his movies? It's a horrible thing to have part of, like an essential part of our cultural makeup. Number 3, Lorne Michaels, ultra right wing guys in charge of Saturday Night Live. And that anybody ever thought, they got a reputation in the first year and a half of actually doing some real politically based satire that did lean a bit to the lefty progressives. Absolutely. But, the minute that Chevy Chase left, that was over with. And then, General Electric wound up buying Westinghouse, and General Electric wound up owning NBC. And those are the largest defense contractors in the frickin' world. And then from that point on, actually when Lorne Michaels started to settle in and whatnot, they kind of dulled down the show. They got rid of a lot of the most incendiary political and social satire, and they started bringing in these redundant sketches that they repeat over and over again, and it turned into a national joke, and not the type of joke that everybody has a lot of fun with, laughing along with, but laughing at. And it's just like infantile humor, redundant, boring, white bread, trite garbage. And that's all from Lorne Michaels. And they trade off of the reputation that they had in the first year and a half that the show was on, and they've done it for, 75 freaking years or whatever the hell. Where it's just been, families talking to themselves in the mirror and, the ultimate in mayonnaise and disposable nobodies, and doing it over and over again. It's Pat, that superstar lady, and all these dumbass freaking movies that they have spin-offs of things, all produced by a sort of cloistered and closeted ultra-right maniac named Lorne Michaels, who is creating an illusion of lefty progressivism without actually doing it, without actually meaning it. And it's the Trump character that they've got on now is just pathetic. Where it's, I mean, if it wasn't so tragic, it'd be laughable. There's no teeth. There's none of the commentary on the true nature of his madness and destructiveness and hatefulness is nowhere. It's just kind of like this goofy guy who walks around and kind of just like blah, 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 whatever. It's not satire. I mean, the freaking Gerald Ford, when they were doing that back in the day, and I want to be one of those guys who over glamorizes the past, but the fact of the matter is it's so different. Or they had Gerald Ford was flopping all over the place like a complete total moron. But just all went away right away. It's because Lorne Michaels isn't who everybody thinks he is. Everybody thinks Lorne Michaels is, paragon of lefty liberalism, progressivism. He is not. It's not even close. And NBC has been owned by crypto fascists for more decades than we could count. So it's pretty much all of media. Number 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger, top 10 worst right-wing major Hollywood stars have proved that liberal media bulldink is actually a bunch of horse hockey. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, his father was a brown shirt Nazi Party member, right? So he's sitting around at the dinner table and, who knows what Arnold Sr. or whatever his name was is talking about, like, oh, yeah, well, after we finish our spätzle, let's go, throw some bricks through some Jewish business storefronts. I don't know. I mean, it could be that the apple doesn't fall from the tree because he married into the freaking Kennedy family. So I don't know what to think about this guy, but certainly he was right there when they destroyed the career of Gray Davis, and the former governor of California, who was had his career destroyed by Enron, who was the biggest contributor to the George Bush Jr. campaigns, through that whole brownout thing that they were having. And Gray Davis was a serious contender for going up against Bush Jr. being talked about in that sort of in that light. And they ruined Gray Davis, didn't they? Now, I didn't get a close-up look at Gray Davis, really, when he was governor of California, but I know that he had a national-level profile, and that he could have easily have been a contender for it. And then, I also know that JFK Jr. died in a really mysterious plane wreck, that there have been people who've talked about that could have been a missile attack. And, you're going to say, oh, look at this conspiracy theory, fat old jerk-off. But first of all, conspiracy theory, that's on you. Conspiracy theories is a term, not a negative towards the person who's espousing an alternative viewpoint of what's going on in the world around us and how they've been indoctrinating us for so long and causing so much suffering and purging of leftward-leaning progressives throughout all of modern American history. But also, the fact is that it's part of the denial that people use when their brainwashing is in danger of being reprogrammed. And it's just a mechanism. I don't know how it works psychologically. Maybe you want to talk to somebody about that. But the fact is that anytime anybody gets anywhere close to revealing the objective nature, the truth behind some of the lies that we've been indoctrinated with and brainwashed with, there will be either bullying or pushing back or denial or all three that they use to protect the brainwashing. It's weird. But I'm no longer referring to. I've changed that label. That label is used as an insult, and we need to start getting over each other, because the things that were going on in this world can no longer be defined as natural, normal, organic. It's just all a bunch of lies and indoctrination and black ops that are being fifth column operatives. All this stuff is for real. It's going on. There's no way that they can get all this done and have this place be so evil without it. So I'm calling them reality checks from now on, because that's what it really is. It's not, JFK's head bounces back from the impact of a bullet in the front. And there's no way that the magic bullet went through all those different body parts and clothing and everything and turned up in pristine condition on Governor Connolly's gurney. Hospital gurney? You are freaking nuts. And look at the goddamn freaking assassination of Lee Harvey Oswald. He gets shot with a 32 caliber bullet, a belly wound from 2 inches away from his stomach, and there's not a drop of blood anywhere. There's no spatter. There's no nothing. There's no way. Grow up. You're the one that's nuts, not the people who are looking at it to try to come up with the amount of people. There was a British newspaper that did an analysis on the amount of material witnesses from the Kennedy assassination that died from unnatural causes within like a few months of the incident, and the number was so astronomical. It was like a bazillion to one. Possibility of that actually happening organically. There was a guy, a material witness to the Kennedy assassination, that died from karate chop in like 1964. Who the hell's dying from a karate chop in 1964? They're called reality checks from now on. And screw you if you want to keep on going, deluding yourselves. It's up to you. But it's on you too, and try to catch up, because all the rest of us are suffering. All the rest of the people in the world are suffering because you want to feel that comfort zone so bad, that cocoon, that violet, burying your head in the sand so that you don't have to contend with the pressures of maybe having a life that's not completely safe and secure all the time. Up your nose with a rubber hose. All right, and the final top. Worst right-wing major Hollywood star that proves a liberal media bulldank that they keep force-feeding us is a bunch of horse hockey. This occurs, it's Mel Gibson. Of course. How's this guy? They got a Lethal Weapon 5 or 6 or whatever the hell they're up to coming in the pike. It's being produced right now. How's this guy bounce back from his... it's just such an obvious sign that the extent... that people are so down. I don't know what to say with the hatred that this guy is espousing. And this guy is number one on the anti-Semitic list, I think. And he should be. Maybe number 2 for the South Park guys and their heinous, horrendous hate crime character, Eric Cartman. But he's certainly up there. And those guys, those ultra-right wingers, they're something else, man. So hateful, so dismissive of anything that's outside of their own, self-image. Even just the tiniest little thing. And then he goes off on this tirade that's all caught on tape that should have ruined his career for life. He never should have been able to bounce back off that. Who the hell wants to support somebody like that? But people are so desperate. Oh, I got to have my mouth fixed. They're probably going to be just sort of crawled his way back in with the beaver or whatever. And then from then on, it was like Gringo or whatever. Stop that Gringo or whatever. It's just garbage. And he's a garbage person. Payback. Was Payback after the thing? I can't remember if Payback was after or before the tirade. The Malibu police tirade. But why do you give that guy more opportunities? Aren't there any other guys that you can give opportunities to? It's because Hollywood in reality is ultra-right wing. And they're giving him the opportunities because they love his ultra-right wingedness. This is the guy who they dished off the ultimate ultra-right wing bloodthirsty bloodbath. Take off the bloodthirsty and replace it with bloodbath. Bloodbath of the Passion of the Christ and stuff. And every one of his movies was a bloodbath. I mean, super graphic, The Patriot and Beowulf or whatever that thing was with the freedom to hate Jews. They cannot take away our freedom to hate Jews. Mel Gibson, up your ass, was something very big and uncomfortable. All right, but anyway, so I've got a bonus section for you here. I've got a brief list of honorable mentions, dishonorable mentions of ultra-right wingers in Hollywood, to just kind of give you a smattering of what a gigantic lie the whole identity of liberal media. Liberal media is like a code word. It's to mean, I think it really means Jews in media, and they're connecting with all of their intolerant, Jew-hating wasps and whatnot, and Kennebunkport and, aka the Bush family and the Harrimans and the people who tried to prove that the white people are the master race over there in the Cold Harbor laboratories, right? The eugenics experiments and all that kind of garbage that they kept doing. I mean, why aren't people? I don't know why people aren't rejecting these people and throwing them out there and portraying them for the monsters that they really are, other than to explain it as saying that the Hollywood is in reality a gigantic ultra-right-wing mess. And all the people who have green light power in Hollywood are ultra-right-wing conservative corporation CEOs. So anyway, here's a brief list, and this is just some jerk-off nobody like me just coming up with stuff on their part-time to try to, I don't know. I mean, I just spent a couple hours trying to weed out these things and looking them up myself, which, I encourage you to do. But here we go. Hollywood conservatives who are still alive. There's a bunch from the olden days too. But, keep in mind that out of, fear of alienating potential fans, that many of these Hollywood actors try to keep their political affiliations secret. So there's no telling how many others that there are. But it's not easy to find out. I had to do actually a pretty significant amount of reading and research in order to be able to come up with just this list. And again, they've got, massive amounts of PR people to try to keep this all hidden and buried. But these are my best educated and informed Hollywood conservatives. And starts with, where we got here, Jessica Simpson, Sydney Sweeney, Tom Selleck, Joe Pesci, Chris Pratt, Blake Shelton, Celia Ward, Jason Aldean, Ashton Kutcher, Selma Hayek, Mark Wahlberg, James Woods, John Voight, Amy Adams, Ice Cube, Andy Garcia, Stacey Dash, Kanye West, Ronnie Chung, whatever, Hulk Hogan, John Cryer, Theo Vaughn, Jim Belushi, Rob Schneider, Jillian Michaels, Gary Sinise, Carrie Underwood, Bruce Willis, Kelly Clarkson, Nelly, Cheryl Hines, Big Boy, Mila Kunis, Dennis Miller, Cindy Crawford, Rick Ross, Kim Kardashian, Dennis Quaid, Kelsey Grammer, Jason Lee, Joe Perry, Kathy Ireland, Maya Rudolph, Paul Thomas Anderson, Clint Eastwood, Travis Kelsey, whatever, Diane Sawyer, Ariana Grande, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Teron Killian, whatever, Adam Driver, Bill Maher, Don Johnson, Airbud. It's a little bit of levity. Levity. Yeah, Airbud, levity. Yes, slam dunk. What's up with traveling in freaking modern day? Is anybody else seeing? I mean, it's like up to 4 steps and stuff, and they're just letting it go. It's just, you see them, they'll take the ball, they'll stop dribbling, and they will run to the basket for I don't know, it seems like about 35, 40 feet. All right, where was I? Billy Ray Cyrus, John Lovitz, Shaq, Russell Brand, Gwen Stefani, Caitlyn Jenner, Larry Miller, Dan Patrick, Jim Caviezel, Larry the Cable Guy, James Cameron, Zach Levy, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, those are the South Park guys, the aforementioned South Park guys. Those guys are freaking hardcore freaking Nazis in my mind. Patricia Heaton, Roseanne Barr, John Schneider, Taryn Manning, Dre DeMatteo, Scott Baio. Ooh, that rhymed nicely. Victoria Jackson, Heather Locklear, Laura Prepon, Dean Kane, Christy Swanson, Randy Quaid, Antonio Sabato, Ben Stein, Angie Harmon, Cheryl Ladd, David Spade, Andy Samberg, Nick Swarsden, George Hamilton, John Ratzenberger, Jacqueline Smith, Chelsea Noble, Catherine Hicks, Kevin Sorbo, Shawnee Smith, Vincent Gallo, Isaiah Washington, Robert Davi, Suzanne Summers, Drew Carey, Stephen Baldwin, Dennis Hopper, Kirk Cameron, Bill Engvall, Kill Tony, Tom Berenger, Dennis Franz, Paul Sorvino, Craig T. Nelson, Dick Clark, George Papard, Ricardo Montalban, Ditka, Yafet Kato, Gerald McRaney, Danny Aiello, Gina Carano, Cindy Williams, Jackie Mason, Steve Buscemi, Michael Moriarty, Hal Holbrook, Brett Favre, Kid Rock, Michael Rappaport, Sexy Red, Ted Nugent, Melissa Joan Hart, Candace Cameron Burr, Joy Villa, I don't know. Elizabeth Hasselbeck, Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, Joe Rogan, Catherine McPhee, Gene Simmons, Leon Rhymes, Hank Williams Jr., Dave Mustaine, Pete Sampras, Roger Clemens, Nolan Ryan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Meatloaf, Tim Tebow, Walt Disney, Vince McMahon, Kenny Chesney, Jerry Bruckheimer, Megan McCain, Dwayne Johnson, Bo Derek, Tony Danza, Alex Trebek, Owen Wilson, Johnny Ramone, Freddie Prinze Jr., Robert Duvall, Milos Forman, James Earl Jones, David Lynch, Sam Raimi, Sammy Hagar, Lynn Swan, Michael Steele, Gary Busey, 50 Cent, Kirstie Alley, Johnny Damon, Kurt Schiller, Dana White, Mariano Rivera, Trace Adkins, Mary Hart, Rick Harrison, Jack Nicklaus, Lil Wayne, Pat Sajak, Willie Robinson / Duck Dynasty, Susan Lucci, Rob Lowe, Shannon Doherty, Robert Downey Jr., LL Cool J, Hillary Duff, and Ricky Schrader. Oh, no, not Ricky Schrader. That cute little guy. What a bummer. Anyway, so there were actually a few people who are croaked on that list. Sorry about that. And, a lot of, some of these, just a few of these are just sort of instinctual, sort of calling them out based on some of the reactions that they've had in certain issues and certain contextual situations that seemed to reveal that they have like hardcore leanings as their main sort of intellectual focus, like Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher and Susan Sarandon. A lot of those people just seem like, when you see them in action, like, or praising, to asking a judge to go easy on Danny Masterson after he was found guilty of multiple rapes. That I don't know. I mean, I might be ascribing things that I shouldn't be ascribing anymore based on, some of the craziness that's going on, but I just don't see true lefty progressives acting in ways that would, advocate judges going easy on rapists. It just doesn't seem, it seems, counterintuitive. It just doesn't seem to fit. I just, oh man. Howard Stern, he might be, pretending to be lefty. Now I really don't know, but I do remember that back in his terrestrial radio days that he was a huge fan of Governor Pataki when all this, the revealing of the true nature of the shadow fascist government of the United States was, sort of setting up the end game. And Howard Stern was very vocally in support of New York Republican Governor Pataki and played a big role in trying to help him, popularize whatever with, Howard was the king of all media back in those days. Anyway, well, that's all the time I got for, True Left-Wing Stars 0. What a pleasure it's been to be able to, bring this to you today. I need to mention that I've done the best I can with this list. Excuse me, I know there's probably things that people, might, if something like this ever gets seen by anybody, that people want to deny or fight against and whatever. I did the best that I could. There could be a few, like I said, there could be a few that have missed the mark, but certainly, like obviously, a lot of them prove themselves for what they really are, the Rob Schneiders of the world and stuff. So I've tried my best to alert people to the widespread nature. And there's no way with the 100 or whatever people that I've listed here that people can continue to say that Hollywood is a bastion of liberal media. It isn't. And that's a big lie. It's the big lie they talk about all the time, where they just keep repeating falsehoods until people believe it, and it's an automatic default. Like NPR is liberal. Like, who the hell told you that NPR was liberal? So, like I said, I'm doing my best, and those of you who are offended by it or whatever, do your own freaking blog. Look it up for yourself. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to look it up and engage. I want you to be moved to engage in the world around you and take responsibility for it. And so maybe you'll realize that you feel all caught up in the depressive nature of what's going on in society as it collapses into total anarchy, and then perhaps the human race is extinguished to make way for the AI cybernetic robot race. And I can tell you right now that we live in a world that has so much need, so many people who are desperate for help and companionship and for some kind of compassion in the world that's out there, that go find that need out there. Instead of getting angry with me, find the need and help somebody out. People are in major crisis all the time now, and you don't have to help the world by fighting the individuals that are seeking to harm it all the time. I mean, it's important right now, but I think that we're in the end game stages. I think that providing comfort to people and putting yourself out there and exhibiting a little unconditional love and forgiveness to people is going to go perhaps a lot further than poking a stick in the face of ice and having you get shot and stuff like that. How's that helping people? How's that progressing us above and lifting us up out of underneath the jackboot heel on our throats from our overlords? We need to build institutions. We need to build networking. We need to be able to find a way to communicate without, a social network that is solely constructed to indoctrinate us into total obedient, brainwashed social engineering. And we need, to get out of the cycle of having all of our cultural mechanisms being compromised by the corporate ethos. And we need to be able to find ways to gently nudge at this point without destroying. I mean, look, people who are boycotting Target. Are they out of their freaking minds? If you get rid of Target, then you've got all you've got left is Walmart and Amazon to get the sort of basics. And who the hell wants to do that? The freaking Walmart people and Jeff Bezos? That's who you want to throw your support behind? I mean, it's obvious that these people who are in control of the message are trying to get us to boycott Target by creating a bunch of negative vibes about them in the media, and then using agents provocateur online to build up rage against Target. And Target goes, it's Walmart, baby. And that's no good. It's not doing us any favors. We need to sort of create a system that allows us for every decision that we make with a dollar vote. Our political votes are absolutely, totally worthless, but our dollar votes can make a difference. We can edge these corporations into just a tiny little bit more social responsibility and paying the social cost of what they do. Because if you can have an app or something like that where you can take a picture of the barcode, and you have inside the app, you've got all your political preferences and affiliations, everything like that, and can spit out a number about how compatible the product is with your particular views. And then you could say, well, here's a thing of toilet paper. Click on that and saying like, oh no, these are the Koch brothers. You need to stay away from them because you're a liberal freak. And then you just click another one and they go like, oh yeah, that's better by about 10% or whatever. And then you buy that. Anyway, that's all the time we got. What a pleasure again it is to be able to be here with you. And don't forget to smash that freaking like button. Like button. Smash the freaking like button. Thanks for watching. No.